Someone shot the food.
Good evening, everybody. It is Monday, July the 6th. Oh my god, the year, it is both slow and fast at the same time. Welcome back to your Mr. Video Games live super show, live brought to you by Dead Sun Entertainment, live here on twitch.tv/Dead Sun Entertainment, and of course on youtube.com/DBGP Games after we're done. Whew, that's a lot of words coming into it, of course. I press buttons here and make things go boop for me and the peoples who come along with us. I am Slacker Kai Travis. I am this guy. Of course, we have other people with us today. You know he's worth the 69 easy. It's Brian, a.k.a. Wonderboy.
Yo, nice. This is nice, and I'm good with it. I am worth 69, and I am easy.
Heck yeah.
So that is that's cool. I can't throw anything else onto that. Move on.
How's it going, Coop? And of course, she'll take on the entire U.S. Esports League on her own. Woo. It is Lindsay K. Lady Merowin.
All the uwos. QQ more, kids. QQ more.
Welcome back, everybody. How's your week's been? Dead quiet. That good.
It's been a week.
It's been
I don't know,
1 week.
You know, you and me here. We are living south of the border, considered to Lindsay. So, we had a holiday over the weekend that really didn't feel like a holiday for me, at least.
Well, they had a holiday on Friday.
Oh yes, well, I mean, yes, that was a nice little day. But other than
Wednesday.
that, I don't.
Wednesday? Shit.
Wednesday. It's the first of the month.
Okay.
Oh, I thought. Okay, see See, I knew Canada Day was the first of the month. I thought that Travis was just referring to Friday as a holiday because it was a day that everybody basically had off anyway. And also, it wasn't the 4th of July because really wasn't a ton of stuff to be proud about this year on the 4th of July. Anyway,
But boy, were there some fireworks. Just discount fireworks as far as the eye can see.
Yep. So many actually on my street, and it annoyed the fuck out of me because it freaked out my cats.
I mean, my cat's freaked out, but they're assholes, so they can be freaked out all they want to.
I see. Mine are not, and I felt bad for them. But no, I basically spent my holiday covering. I spent my holiday weekend covering a story that we're going to be talking about a little bit later today, as well as this will be fun to get into, start off a conversation with. My partner taught me how to play Magic the Gathering for like the 10th time.
Woo! One of us.
You and Linz can play. I will stay over here. You can have all the fun with that shit.
Here's the thing. I'm somewhat in between both of you on this thing. Like I liked playing. It was fun. It was the first time I actually finished a game without getting full on frustrated with it and throwing my hands up. And I still hold some reservations and some judgment towards the incredibly wordy, jargon-based bullshit that is on those cards. I And the thing that pissed me off the most was just trying to dissect what they were trying to tell me that they could do. Like it's just I don't know. Either way, it was a fun weekend though. It was a fun time. I played Magic and I had fun for the first time ever playing Magic. Yeah, and I played some video games also.
Like
So a good mix.
I
Sorry?
I had a small little party with some friends on the onlines. Good old Elliot from back home and whatnot through one of those,
Nice.
yeah, every country matters parties. So we got to be a country. I got to talk about how amazing Australia is, because hell yeah, kangaroos, and they have the koaka, most beautiful animal in all of existence. Of course, those of you who were here last Tuesday would have heard our first attempt, our episode 0 of the History of the World show, where we talk about shit in like old ass gaming history, or as sometimes we like to call it here, Thought W.
Thought dub.
Thought Dub.
Thought dub.
Hell yeah. It was a good episode, other than we didn't realize till after the show that Brian was quiet as fuck. Somehow nobody listening to the show live bothered to mention that to us.
Also, it's kind of ironic that that I was the quiet one.
Yeah. Considering I kind of steamrolled the conversation in that, but I don't know. We're figuring it
Oh
out
no,
still.
just more so I'm just a loudmouth most of the time.
I mean, you're no Hollis, but still.
No. No one can be a Hollis.
Now, some of you may have mentioned, and I'll mention this again at the end of the stream as well, in the doobly-doo down below what stream we do, there is a tier listing for subscription perks. If you guys want to do that, that is great, but it's more of a way of us, like, none of us really give a shit about the money. We've been doing this for free for years. But we would like to gauge interest in how much people actually make a fuck over us actually doing this side project. So, depending upon how many subscribers we have to the channel, we will do more of the podcast. At 5 or anywhere around 5, we're going to continue to do one monthly podcast at the end of the month of the history of the world on Tuesdays. If we get 10 subscribers, we will go bi-weekly here. Every other week there will be a podcast, and that's more what we're hoping for is 10 subscribers. Not necessarily now, but at some point in our future. 25 subscribers will get a research cast every alternating Tuesday, so likely I will play some game in reference to what we're actually talking about on the show every alternating week. And on 50 subscribers, it will be a weekly History of the World podcast.
Ooh.
That is the plan. So hey, if you're on board, cool. If you're not, we're fine with that too. We'll do it. We'll still probably do it once a month because we really enjoy doing that fucking show. But mostly, we want to know how much people care about these shows. So hey,
We already got Coop gifting subs over here, so
thanks for the subs. I am sure both Nomi and Merowyn's sister will be super excited for that. Holy shit, we went up to 5 already. Jesus Christ.
there you go. Did them research and ready.
All right, we're already up to 5, so you are at the very least getting a show at the end of the month. If we get up to 10 at some point, we'll be doing this bi-weekly. Thanks so much, Coop, for all of your good times. Anyway, shall we get into the Mr. Video Game Show, the one we're actually here to do today?
Sure. Question for you though. You been playing anything?
Me? Oh, I haven't had the fucking time, to be honest with you. I got in a few more rounds of Hades and Retro Bowl, but I don't know if that even really counts. Like, that's just shit that I do when my mind is not alive.
Hey, it counts. Ugh. What about you, Lindley?
I Playwatch and I were really, really bored, and we dove back into WoW.
Oh,
And I've actually been spending a goodly amount of time on Classic. And I'm currently trying to figure out how the fuck we played casters back then, because your mana pool is nil. 3 fucking casts of Lightning Bolt on a Shaman, and you have no mana. What the hell?
I dead set fucking refuse. I lost so much of my life to that one fucking video game. I'm not going back. I know. I would love to play a game with you and Peter, but it keeps being games that I look at and go, I don't know. Frame and Grand Theft Auto and World of Warcraft. Oh my.
Yar. Division 2 was fun while it lasted in this household.
While it lasted.
Yeah, we played for I think about 2 months, and then we kind of hit endgame and went, now what? Like, it was a lot of fun. I got really good at being a sniper. But yeah. But a lot of my week has actually just been spent sitting here beating my head against my desk trying to figure out how people are completely unable to separate actors from their characters. And I know we're going to get into that later. I ranted about a bit about it in Discord today.
Mhm.
Words, English. I've only had like 1 cup of coffee today, so bear with me.
Sorry.
I keep
Go ahead.
debating getting into Trackmania, giving it a go. It's free over there on that Epic, but I'm also kind of pissed off at their subscription fee per month that they want to do as well. So I know you can still play a lot of it for free, but also fuck that.
Yeah, I grabbed Trackmania actually today through Twitch Prime.
Oh.
Currently on Epic, it's Hue that is free. So it's like a side scroller platformer, from what I understand, where you can advance and do stuff by changing the background color.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you
haven't dove into that yet.
If you click, you can get other, like, there's a couple other free items. Trackmania, I think, is still free. And I know for a fact that Devolver still has, God, what is the name of that game where you are? Sledge Life, that's one, is also free.
Yes.
Oh, and I don't know if you saw it, but we can start getting hyped because the 11th, there is a Devolver Direct.
Hells yeah. Like, I don't know
I'm
if
so
they
excited.
should do, like, a live stream of that, because really we never have added anything to the Devolver part of the stream. It's just us going, and dying.
Basically, yes. No. I can't wait for that Devolver event. It's gonna be fun because like the next day is the Ubisoft event, which is gonna be interesting to say the least, considering what they've been going through over there. But it does tie into what I've been playing this week, because Ubisoft launched a technical test for their latest game. It is a battle royale called Hyperscape. I don't know if y'all had seen anything about this one yet.
But
I've seen little bits, and I'm kind of interested, except for my absolute dislike of battle royales.
I completely understand. It's a little bit different take on it, just a tad.
You're not getting that Crucible?
We'll get to Crucible. But spoiler alert, no, I did not get into that Crucible before they decided to do what they did with that game. But no, Hyperscape it's fun. It's fast paced. It's a lot more like it's all in a city urban environment. So it's a lot more verticality to it. It's a lot faster in movement, I would say. Like you come standard with a double jump. There are a lot of jump pads around there, so you're constantly like jumping up on top of buildings and over
Ooh.
buildings and stuff like that. And they've kind of simplified the loot system too. So you have two gun slots and you have two what they call hack slots, which are basically just different powers that you have. And so basically the way you upgrade guns is you just whatever gun you have, you find another of its type on the map, you collect it and it just adds to your gun already. It levels it up. And you can do that up to 5 times to get a fully upgraded gun. The hacks, like it's anything from like healing abilities to like armor to mines to walls. You can even get a giant armored bouncy ball that you can bounce around the map with while you're contained inside of it. And
I can be a human hamster ball.
yes, you can be a
That's the
human
best
hamster.
Overwatch character, so I might have to get into this.
Yes. It's so with all that said, like it's all takes place inside of like a virtual city. So like, it has a very sort of futuristic feel to it. It has a very like reboot feel to it in some ways. And instead of the ring, basically sectors of the city start to decay and disintegrate into off of the map. So basically, if you're like an area that's starting to decay, you have to rush to get out of there before it goes away. And then the major change that they introduced is the crown rush system. So whenever it gets down to only one sector of the city left, a crown spawns on top of a building, and if you grab the crown and hold it for 45 seconds, you can that's a victory condition for the game. So it's a
Alright.
battle royale where you don't have to kill everybody to win. Like you can either kill all the other people on the map, or you can grab the crown and hold it for 45 seconds while everyone in their fucking mother chases you down, trying to gun you down.
Just be
With
the
it.
best greased pig, huh?
Basically, yeah. So it's fun. I've played a few games. It feels really good. But it definitely still needs some work in terms of like balancing and stuff. It's a much more passive experience in some ways. Like you don't necessarily have to be as aggressive as you do in a lot of other battle royales, and I'm sure they'll try to work out a better balance of that going forward. But yeah, it's really fun. It did crash on me a few times, but it's a technical test. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I'm expecting there's probably gonna be some more information about it at the Ubisoft event on the 12th, but it's been fun so far, and I've been digging it. As someone who plays way too much Apex Legends, it feels like Apex Legends, and it feels like a decent alternative to it. I just don't think it's better than Apex at the moment, but we'll see what happens as they keep working on it.
Hell yeah. Alright. We ready to get ready for the show today?
Sure.
Alright. Why the hell not? Let's get into the live thing. Thanks, Merwin, for gifting back to Coop de Jernick.
Oh, he looked lonely. There was no star.
Yeah, he gives away 5 whole subs and doesn't get one of his own. How dare he? Anyway, the first article that we want to talk about has been doing its rounds on Twitter, and there's been all of the think pieces and all of that happy shit going on. NBA 2K21 is going to be priced at $69.99. Nice. Nice. Coming up in the year of our Lord 2020. And conversation has been talking about, hey, are other games going to go up for $70 now? No, $69.99. Let's keep it correct for that next gen console. Are you guys ready to see $69.99?
Well, the thing is like pricing them at $60 for the US means that they were $80 games in Canada.
Word.
So bring it up another $10. That's $90 for a game on top of what's going to be like a $700 system for us. Bye, Canada. Like we're stepping out of gaming. See ya.
Yikes.
See, I'm on board with John Borg here. If you're gonna give me a $70 game, I'm all for it. Bring me the $70 game. I don't mind. But could you keep the microtransaction out? I don't even care, honestly, as much if you keep asking for a microtransaction. The only thing is, if I ever see or hear anything about the microtransactions while I'm playing, if it gets into the game some way that annoys me, fuck your game. And you know, NBA 2K21 is going to be full of that shit.
Like that is case zero for fucking stupid microtransaction infiltration. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, so it doesn't. This doesn't surprise me. This is something that's been talked about even during like the current console generation. You know, like when were they going to bump prices up? Because it happens every go around, and with the more like higher I can't remember the word right now. It just left my brain. Anyway, the more that you implement DLC, microtransactions, and battle passes, season passes, all those different little things where they can add, you know, revenue streams to their games. The more that happens, the more like people might be clamoring for this as some kind of change. I am with you and John Borg, though. I don't necessarily believe that this is going to really see a subside in the microtransaction. And honestly, like I go on and on about a lot of different things when it comes to video games that annoy the piss out of me. Microtransactions do annoy me, but there are ways to implement them that do not impact what you want to accomplish with the game. And I think that, like, throwing loot boxes aside, which, by the way, shout out to the UK for finally saying that it needs to be a loot box legislation.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, taking all that stuff aside, because that's not microtransactions. That's fucking gambling. There's a way to implement this in your game and create that revenue stream where it doesn't feel like it's bashing over the head with it, you know? Not a lot of companies have really figured out how to do that just yet, especially when you're talking about 2K, because 2K, I mean, let's put it this way. The guys that made I Can't Believe It's Not Gambling literally made a DLC based solely off of the NBA 2K20 gambling roulette, like slot machine fucking trailer that came out. Okay? Like that's literally the reputation that the 2K games have, and that then transfer that onto what EA does in all of their sports games as well. Sports games are some of the worst when it comes to this stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, so I would not be surprised if you get the bump up in cost and you still get a lot of that stuff. I honestly, like, it's like $10 more. It sucks. It sucks to pay any amount of money, like for a lot of stuff. It can really hurt bank accounts. It can limit your spending habits. It can limit how many games you actually get the chance to play. But I get why they might do it, and I don't necessarily have a huge problem with it. It's just a matter of how do they adjust the additional revenue streams around it. I think you've seen a lot of people push back on the idea of season passes to the point where we haven't really seen those in a couple of years at this point. You still have battle passes, but a lot of games that implement battle passes are for modes or games that are entirely free to begin with. You know, like a lot of battle royales do that to create some more income for them, but it doesn't impact the game really. So, like, if that's the route that they go with it, then that's fine. It's just a matter of these things are going to adjust in some way, because if you're asking consumers to pay more base, like, you have to find some way to make them more palatable to any other additional revenue stream that you're going to put into the game itself.
Yeah, you definitely have to put a reason for people to look at this and go, "Oh yeah, this is worth $70 of my hard-earned money." And sweat graphics are not it. And I feel like there's tiers for how much gouging people will allow in their games. I don't know why sports games tend to be the top tier for fucking over the fans of the game, but it's there. And then it feels like it's followed by fighting games, and then after that are your free-to-play looter shooter or hero games. And then you got basically everybody else. And I don't know, as somebody who used to love sports games as a kid, we haven't really seen a good NBA Jam like game in some time. But we saw another, if there was one that came up that was as hype as NBA Jam was back in the day, please believe I'd be there for it. But I would worry they would bring this shit into something like NBA Jam if it came out tomorrow.
Well, I mean, they kind of did with NBA Playgrounds, a couple years back.
Yeah.
But that game was terrible in its own right before anything else got added into it. That game was just not good at all. And I will say this, the 2K game, the basketball part of it, still feels really good. There's a reason why they keep making that game. Like, it is the only basketball game out there, really, because EA is never going to make another basketball game. They can keep trying to, like, have rumors about fucking NBA Live coming back all they want. That's never going to happen.
Right.
But the basketball still feels really good. It's just everything that they wrap around it, like it just oozes just muck and just ringing you for everything. And it really sucks that this conversation is starting around this, because it's the worst case scenario for what this could end up being. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, sports games. To answer that question real quick, I feel like sports games are the main one because, one, they have the most universal appeal.
True.
And you have one of the larger install bases, I would say. And also, you're usually a lot of people that play sports games, not everyone, but a lot of people that play sports games almost routinely only play sports games, or they pair it with like other more accessible genres like FPSs or battle royales or stuff like that. So, and those tend to feel easier for people to part with extra cash for those games because of the audiences that they target. It's not necessarily the most plugged in part of the consumer base when it comes to this stuff. So
yeah, I mean, these are a lot of people that get home from work, play a game or two of NBA or NHL, 2K, what have you, and afterwards just oh man, I don't know, I really want to play as this guy. Yeah, $5 is fine, whatever. And they're not really ones that are going to be out there. Like, I don't imagine most people who play NBA 2K1 are also going to sit down with Disco Elysium from time to time as well. I think they're two different markets, and that's fine.
yeah. Honestly, the one that frustrates me the most is fighting games to an extent, because case in point, Street Fighter V. Street Fighter V at launch was one of the most bare bones bullshit things that you could have thought would come out of anything, and then they kept adding to it. Finally, had something that resembled a full on release by the time they got to Arcade Edition. But by that point, they had sullied the name of that game, and it still has people that play it. And there's a reason why it was still on the docket to be played at EVO, and why Capcom still runs their tournament series around it. But unless you were a super hardcore Street Fighter fan, that game lost you pretty quickly whenever it first released, and you can't keep working off of that model if you are going to try and keep your install base.
Or Dead or Alive 6, when they were like, yeah, you could pay us to mod your character, and if you want to mod your character again, pay us again. That was a cool one.
Yeah. Fuck Dead or Alive.
Absolutely. Hey, while we're still on all the money in gaming, a quick shout out to Fortnite for going out of early access finally. Just the top game possibly of all time is apparently now a full access game. So go play that fucking game that is now a real game at this point and never before.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah.
It just came out of, but ow. I need more coffee. This hurts, man.
Well, because Save the World, up until this point, wasn't actually done. And Save the World was always meant to be the focus of the game until everyone forgot that Save the World fucking existed and have just been playing it for the Battle Royale portion. So they've decided that their last update, this is it, we're done with Save the World. It is a playable game. It's now out of beta.
Yep, and they're charging for it.
Mm-hmm.
What?
20
Yeah, Save the World
dollars.
is $20 if you want to Save the World, but Battle Royale is still free.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
So that player versus environment and all of that is $20, whereas the part that people actually care about, free to play. It is one of those weird oddities. I don't think a lot of people who play Fortnite really care that Save the World exists.
I don't
mean,
think it's a case of not caring. I think it's a case of not knowing it exists.
It's a good question. I didn't want to go that hard into a definitive statement, but I don't think you're wrong either.
No, not at all. Like, it's one of those things where as soon as the Battle Royale hit, that's all that was really marketed. Like there's still there's still a dedicated install base for Save the World, you know.
Yeah.
But that's not where the money is, obviously. So like, it makes total sense that they're finally done with it and they're going to be winding down development on it. They're just going to keep recurring events over the course of the year, as the game keeps getting played. But yeah, like they never really tried to transfer the Battle Royale audience over to the PvE game either. Because I mean, I think that they figured out pretty quickly that the people going to the Battle Royale probably weren't necessarily that interested in Save the World. Not to say that they wouldn't be if they did give it a shot, but it's two diametrically different games in that way. You know, like we're seeing it right now play out again in Apex. You know, with the game that I play the most, because like right now during season 5, they introduced a PvE element to the game, but I will say this, in execution it has been terrible because one, the the story around it is lackluster, and you have to. The only way you can play it is if you keep collecting treasure packs in the main game, and you can only collect one treasure pack per day. So it's all a ploy to keep bringing you back to play Apex more, the main game. And you have to have 5 treasure packs to unlock the next mission. So you can't you can literally play the soonest you can play each additional mission is every 5 days. So people are trying to like take what they do in Battle Royale and expand it in that way, but it's just not. It just doesn't translate the same way. It doesn't pull in that audience in the same way.
Yeah, it's a rare game, I think, that can really pull off both PvE and PvP environments at the same time. Hey, Lady Goggles, thanks for the raid.
Woo!
How's it going, people? How is the downstairs world treating you? You're in my world now, 5-7.
Okay. I have a feeling there's a history.
No. I mean, yes, but no.
I'm just messing.
We're just here talking about video games. You know how it be. You know, this is such a great time for you to come drop in because, hey, our next story. Just
Speaking of raids,
there is no good transition into the story. I don't care about your gift card, Eurogamer. Nobody cares. A student over in Japan, in Tokyo specifically, made bomb threats into Konami's headquarters after being pissed off over PES's mobile connection continuing to drop over and over again, left death threats on the game store, saying things like, I'm going to blow up Konami's headquarters, and I'm going to kill the people who worked at Konami. And boy howdy, that is, those were spicy, spicy takes. So, yeah. After what happened previously, in regards to bomb threats and whatnot, I'm not surprised that they took this seriously. And hey, don't threaten the people at these places with death threats.
No, that's standard. Don't do that, especially over. Look, I don't want to make light of the situation because it is serious, and I'm glad that no one was hurt by this. There have been, the article here mentions the Kyoto Animation arson. Like that was a big thing that like makes me not really want to make a jokey joke about any of this, because it is very serious, and it is something that I think a lot of people who have viewed the creative industries within Japan a certain way up until that point last year are taking in a completely different level of concern now. That being said, though, to get upset over fucking PES, there are so many better soccer games out there. Like I feel like that. I feel bad making the joke, but I can't help it because like literally, PES is one of the only franchises that Konami still regularly does any development on. But even then, they've fallen by the wayside on that. Like I don't know. Like this is just an odd thing to me. I'm just glad no one got hurt. That's where I'm gonna leave it.
Yeah, same. Like I understand, fuck Konami. Konami has not been a company I could burn two shits over for a long time. But hey, when they put out that shitty Metal Gear game and sullied a franchise that I loved for decades, my response wasn't, "Hey, maybe I should make death threats to the people who developed this game." Who cares? And that's something we're going to more get into as we go along today, because we're not done with this thread. There's some parts to pull apart here.
People need to like just chill out. Like it's a game. You're having issues with mobile connection. Don't blame the developers. Blame your crappy phone.
No, but even if you, sorry, go ahead.
It's been a pretty unchill couple of months here, so to say the least.
Even if you are going to blame the company for a bad mobile connection on their video game, you don't threaten them or you don't like critique them by fucking throwing bomb threats at them or say they're going to kill them. Like this is just fucking God.
Yeah.
The overreaction was too much.
Yeah.
Also, just a thought. It'll be really hard for them to bring the servers back online if they're blown up. I don't know. Just seems difficult to me.
But it could be the if I can't play, no one can play. I'm gonna take my ball and go home.
Along these lines of some amount of bullshit, and we had mentioned previously about Cards Against Humanity and toxic ownership and whatnot. The workers for Cards Against Humanity have decided to unionize their company as well. I am not aware at this point if the owners have decided to buy in yet for the unionization. I can say words of the Cards Against Humanity's Worker United. But after all of the statements that have come on over the previous weeks, especially over racial bias within the company. It seems like a good move for them to do whatever the fuck their union wants them to do.
Yeah, it looks like the ownership has not responded to. They have not recognized the union just yet. But it's also this is fairly fresh. This only just came out today, and it is very, very rare for any company to recognize a union same day as the announcement. As someone who is currently battling to have a company recognize their goddamn union, I I stand in solidarity with the CAHWU, and two, clear-cut case for them to come together and try and do this for protections for themselves and for especially the contracted workers there. So yeah, full support here. It's the smart thing to do, and it's the smart thing for CAH to recognize them, especially after everything that has gone down over the past week to 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm not one of the people that are like burn Cards Against Humanity after finding out that the culture at there has been toxic. Doesn't amaze me that the culture there is toxic, but I consider it sort of similar to Riot. Riot, over the course of a year now, have made huge strides to bettering who they are as a company. John Borg, you're not entirely wrong. I'm just not a fan of Cards Against Humanity. I'll still play it with people, but it's not really what I would call my go-to. I'd still rather just play apples to apples. But regardless of how you feel on the game itself, a lot of the allegations against the company have just not painted a great picture of being a POC worker within the company. And this could go a long way to rectify those situations.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I don't want anybody's workspace to be a place where they feel bad about going. And if Cards Humanity is going to exist, and I expect they're going to continue to exist for some time, because this game and all of these sub games that Cards Against Humanity as a corporation make are fucking huge. I mean, I own Secret Hitler. It's one of my favorite board games of all time. They made it, and am I going to suddenly toss it away because of this? No, but it does make me think twice about actually making a purchase again from the company ever.
Yeah, I think safe to say, I am all the way out on Cards Against Humanity right now. I'm pretty sure that I will not be purchasing anything from them for a while until that culture truly changes. I honestly don't really feel much of a desire to play the game anymore.
Yeah,
to be fair,
the game itself, I just don't hold a lot of fucks over.
Yeah.
Either way, while we're still on companies trying to better themselves, Ubisoft, as we spoke on before, had done some change in management in the previous week in order to rectify their own company's toxic workforce. This week, employees have mentioned that at least 2 senior executives and several other employees are currently on leave until a full research, I guess, into all of the claims, especially the stuff that came out of the Bloomberg article previously, are looked over and thoroughly understood and reviewed by a third party outside of the company.
It's not enough. On leave, like Lady Goggle's reaction, just so they're suspended with pay. They get a nice vacation. Lucky them.
I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt in this case because they've already fired, or at least forced out, several people who have been involved in the allegations already. As Raf Asmal is already out. So I kind of do want to give the benefit of the doubt, especially in something along these lines where there does have to be work done by this third party before things can really be said one way or another. I would like to believe the allegations made, but I'm really glad they're not doing, hey, we did an internal review and we found that everything's fine.
So there's been some development on this story beyond what we have here. Just by the way,
Yeah.
Belan is resigned
Ooh.
from Ubisoft. So he's no longer with the company. Francois remains on disciplinary leave right now. A third employee that is unnamed from the Toronto studio was also fired for, according to Engadget here, for engaging in behaviors that do not align with what is expected of Ubisoft employees. So yeah, you have that going down, and then also Ubisoft said that they are going to restructure their entire editorial team right now after they did a review and realized that, hey, our entire editorial team is just a whole bunch of white dudes.
Yeah, if your whole editorial board is completely white old men, maybe you have to rethink a few things in your company structuring.
Yeah, so they're trying to make all the right moves. Their messaging around it has not been the best, and they're making moves that should have been made years ago at this point. Now, so like it's good that they are doing the right thing currently. It's just it didn't need to be currently. Like this should have happened years ago. It's like so many other things that are around the rash of abuse claims that we've seen in the past couple of weeks within the gaming industry and within the games media. Like we keep talking about it because it keeps coming up every week because it's going to.
Mhm.
Like this stuff has been happening for so long, and it should have been called out and rightfully recognized and addressed years ago. So I'm glad that something's finally pushing that needle now. It just sucks that it took so long, and you had to have so many people get hurt in the process.
Yeah, I mean, Ubisoft is not alone in being a company that should have acted a long ass fucking time ago on these issues. But this is why everyone is speaking up, and outside of even this, protesting, boycotting, what have you, is this shit has gone on way too long, and a lot of people have felt way too comfortable. Like, hey, don't worry about it. Even if somebody finds out, we'll get away with it. It's fine. I am sitting here in my $200,000 a year office, and it's fine. It doesn't fucking matter. I'm glad that these things are finally catching up to a lot of these assholes here, and that their names and reputations are tarnished for fucking ever.
Yeah.
I almost can promise you that Azreef will never be hired at anywhere ever again, because once your name is out there like this as being toxic in somebody to work for, you're not getting hired again because it flags it any time that you're out there applying for your company. They check all that social media background stuff, and boy, if they find the tinge of problem, they're not going to bring you in on that.
They
I
do,
mean,
but sorry, go ahead.
oh no, go.
They do, but you also have to remember the industry we're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, I look, I am, like I said before, this is a powerful moment in this industry, in so many industries right now. But video games, there are still sectors of it that are very insular and very protective over the people that are within it. I don't know if he's going to get a job at a major AAA studio after this, but as long as a company like Quantic Dream continues to operate, there will be someone out there who is willing to look the other way, and that is a fucking shame.
That is also equally fair. It won't be at a company of the reputation like Ubisoft, but there are companies because hey, they need somebody to manage them, and he'll go for less money now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Merwin, you were saying something?
Oh no, I was going to say, like, one of the first things any major company will do when they're looking at a prospective employee is Google them.
Mm.
You can't Google this person's name without seeing all of this. So yeah, I mean, he might be able to con his way into a little tiny indie studio that's desperate for a big name, but that might be about it.
Fair. All right, going to continue to pile the bullshit sandwich towards the middle at this point, with, gosh, a article written by like somebody I think I know. I don't know, this Brian Bell person at
Kind of a
outsports.com.
dick. Kind of a dickhole. No. Yeah, so beyond that though, vanity aside, yo, EVO was gonna start on July 4th. Guess what?
That
EVO didn't start on July 4th.
yeah, it was going to be an all online thing, wasn't it?
Yes, there was. They had coined it EVO Online. They were going to run the entire tournament online. They had actually adjusted the games that were going to be played based off of the quality of netcode that they had. But all of that went by the wayside last week whenever EVO CEO, or at that time EVO CEO, Joey Kuyar. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. I have
I
been
could
able.
give less of a fuck.
I still want to get the person's name right
Fair.
because like they need to be called out rightfully. But basically there were allegations of sexual misconduct that were brought up against Joey, who goes by I'll just use his tag. He goes by Mr. Wizard.
Hmm.
He's he's a co-founder of EVO, dating back to whenever it was still Battle of the Bay back in '96, or like in the late '90s or so. And a lot of the allegations that mainly came out were from a veteran fighting game competitor named Crack Prawn, who was around during that time back whenever the fighting game community was really starting to become a thing at the Southern Hills Golfland mini golf and arcade in Los Angeles, the Los Angeles area. And basically, Crack Prawn put out a statement saying that Wizard he would. Do we want to talk explicit details here, or because I'm perfectly fine, you know, not going into content warning territory.
It's really up to you, honestly, how deep you want
Okay.
to go into it. I was going to cover it on a higher level, but it's really up to you.
So basically, there were he alleged that Wizard. There were multiple instances of him basically having improper conduct of a sexual nature with underage boys during the late '90s, early aughts era, and because of that, remember that came out. A lot of people started kind of questioning whether he should be involved with EVO anymore. That led to people that were going to be competing in EVO voicing their opinion and deciding to leave. Most notably, Sonic Fox was like the first major name that really pulled their name out of the pool. They announced that they were not going to be competing at EVO. They were followed by a number of other players. you got to remember, this is also the same time where a lot of Smash professionals were being called out. I believe that number's up to around 50 people in the
Yeah.
Smash community that have had allegations leveled against them. And then that was followed by a large number of the developers that had their games ready to be featured at EVO this year. They pulled their games from competition. NetherRealm pulled Mortal Kombat 11, Capcom pulled Street Fighter 5, Bandai Namco pulled Dragon Ball FighterZ, Dragon Ball Fighters, Tekken 7, and Soul Calibur 6. And then, oddly enough, Main 6 pulled them's Fighting Herds out of this. So literally almost every game that was ready to go for the competition pulled out. That led to the decision to just cancel the event outright. And they actually, the last word that I saw was that the EVO had distanced himself from Wizard. He was no longer effective immediately. He's no longer involved with anything involving EVO. They've established a new CEO. And yeah, they're just right now, the focus is not on holding a tournament. The focus is on making sure that EVO can continue going forward after all of this. And once again, much like what we talked about with Ubisoft, it is a good move that EVO is doing what they can to distance himself from Wizard and to make Wizard have a reckoning with some of the stuff that he's been alleged to have done.
Well, not
We're
even
also talking
alleged.
about
He
stuff.
said he did.
I know. He said he put out an apology statement saying, basically admitting to stuff. But that's just the journal head in me, still just always alleged in front of everything. But that being said, we're talking about something that happened, I think, almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
At this point, he's been allowed to stay in a position of power with EVO for this long, with no one calling him on it, which I can't believe that no one's called him on it. There has to have been somebody at some point, or having people call him on this stuff and nobody doing anything about it. So while I'm glad that EVO decided to put their foot down and finally actually make a move in the right direction, once again, I don't know why it took you so long.
I mean, you're not wrong, and watching the House of Cards fall has been goddamn amazing, right? Because at first it was just some of the competitors were pulling out, and then the games pulled out, and then the sponsors pulled out, and then Evo released this statement. And this all happened really over the course of a day. And then Tony Cannon
Yeah,
was
this
put
all
in
happened on
CO.
Thursday.
Yeah, it was so fast. And I'm not even a big esports guy, but seeing the pieces just slam so quickly, um, I imagine it sucks for all of the people whose games were going to be showcased at EVO this year. All of these streamers missing out on those opportunities and whatnot. But if this has been going on 20 years, either EVO didn't know some shit as a company, or they are complicit in some real bullshit.
Well, I mean, we're talking about the CEO of the event. He is, for the longest time, Wizard was EVO. There would be no EVO without Wizard.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I could totally see why it would be swept under the rug in some instances. But that's all speculation. We don't know. Like I said, they did the right thing now. We'll see what happens going forward. We'll see if there's trust that can be built up. Because, there's a lot of mistrust going around, a lot of real malaise with how the fighting game community, specifically within esports, has had to deal with these rash of allegations of abuse and stuff like that. We've talked about it multiple times here. It's affecting almost every sector of games. It's affecting multiple sectors of entertainment. I'm still covering stuff from the pro wrestling aspect of all this too. This stuff is not going away, and real system change needs to be made within these industries, so that this stuff can't happen.
Yeah, I mean, it does finally feel like in multiple industries. I know here we report all on gaming as the industry, but you look at multiple segments of entertainment right now. I mean, I know a few years ago Hollywood had famously their Me Too movement, where a lot of people in these positions were removed. But it seems to be going down the pipe now. And right now, nobody wants any of this shit. Nobody wants to be associated or be a part of any of this shit anymore. And thank God. Um, so yeah, get your Mr. Wizard the fuck out of here. How dare you ruin the name of a good childhood hero, you dirty fuck. um, and yeah, you we have to remember as well that things like Evo, while the CEO definitely is the man that runs the gig, there's still a lot of people involved in Evo every year. And this is going to hurt a lot of people, but it's the right thing to do right now. And hey, fix your shit.
Yeah.
But let's drop into the other side of the toxicity in the gaming community. The good old death threats. I know we hit on this a little bit before. Um, Recently, of course, Naughty Dog came out with The Last of Us 2. Whether you love the game or hate the game, it has been a smash fucking hit for the PlayStation 4. And of course, a game with as much polar feelings as far as vitriol, especially in regards to representation in the queer community, representing women of larger muscular body sizes or more gangly body sizes, all of that good shit has come together for just a fucking clusterfuck. And gosh, I forget the name of the character that you play in parts of the game. I know there's one particular part that is part of the dialogue that I am missing from this. I haven't gotten far enough. Abby, that's her name. I know something happens with Abby that I haven't gotten to yet. I haven't felt like playing The Last of Us 2, just because the world is bricks. I'll get back to it eventually when I feel like the world is not bricks anymore. And regardless how you feel about Neil Druckmann as a person, he has been getting death threats as well. And they're done with it. They are all just done with this community. Now, it is fortunate. They also got an overwhelming amount of positivity, especially on the voice actors behind Abby on Twitter. Got just so much positivity to come into her, and she felt a lot better about it. Um, but the amount of hate and vitriol that has come out, especially to Neil Druckmann, over this game. I don't care if it's a bad game and you don't like it. Um, the man doesn't feel safe anymore with the amount of eyes on him from the Twitter brigade, and I don't blame him.
Exactly. Like, this is people taking things too far. Laura Bailey, the actress behind Abby, um, she has a 2-year-old son. She's married. She's received death threats against her family over this. She actually posted a few of them to Twitter, like, I will find you and I will kill your kid just for that. I'm going to find where you live and slaughter you for what you did to spoiler. Like, this is ridiculous. They're taking it as she was playing a role. This is a character, and they're threatening the person who gave voice to that character. Like, what the hell?
even if it's the fucking writer who made the fucking decision, fuck off. Just say you don't like the game. I don't like what you did with this character. I won't be playing any more of your games. Okay, that's fine if that's your choice. There are a lot of people who, this shouldn't get, laid out as being a one item issue. There's a lot of people who have real problems with The Last of Us 2 and its dialogue, and how the game plays out. And there's good reason to dislike this game. It's been hyped for years, and to a lot of people, it didn't hit that level of for them. And okay, you can say to Laura or to Neil, I didn't like this thing. That's fine. But I genuinely believe that there needs to be more done about these assholes just going out and thinking it's fine, I can make as many death threats that I want to and threaten people's family over this shit. That one kid that got sent over death threats to PES is a good start, but man, being an asshole to other people, I can understand some amount of protection in that, in negative vitriolic words, but the moment that you start threatening people's lives and family, that's going a step beyond freedom of speech or protections.
Yeah, I'm sorry. A threat is a threat is a threat. I don't care if you think you have anonymity because it's the internet. These people should be investigated. They should be persecuted. Like, it's no different than walking up to somebody on the street saying, "Hey, I'm going to kill you for that acting you did in that game." Like, no, stop. Grow the fuck up.
No, I completely agree on all accounts. Like, no one should be having their life or any kind of bodily harm threatened upon them or their loved ones because of their work. No one should in that way, especially when it comes to video games of all things. That being said, you mentioned earlier opinions on Neil Druckmann.
Hmm.
You can't have this conversation about like looking at critique and this sort of thing without talking about some of the practices that have been employed by people around this game when it comes to the critical response to it. Before Druckmann came out and condemned everything regarding the threats that he received along with his team, rightfully so, not taking that away at all, but Sony reached out to Vice via on behalf of Naughty Dog to question some of the conclusions that their review of the game made. That doesn't happen that often. Rob Zacny reviewed the game for Vice and, quote, "They felt some of the conclusions I reached in my review were unfair and dismissed some meaningful changes or improvements," end quote. Like, this sort of stuff this doesn't happen. You don't usually see games, especially from AAA companies, responding to reviews in that way, just saying like, "Oh, well, you're wrong, and we want to know why you thought this," and blah blah blah. Because like, we made this thing that's so good. At the same time, Jason Schreier tweeted out, and this just said video games are too long. Didn't reference what game he was talking about.
Mm.
And then Troy Baker, of all people, decided to respond by basically using a Teddy Roosevelt quote that basically said that the critic's voice doesn't count. In like directly responding to Jason Schreier from Bloomberg. Like, I'm sorry, like no, this is not to take away anything from what these people have been receiving. No one should be receiving death threats for their work, especially within this industry. But there is something to say about a company, i.e. Naughty Dog, that has actively built up a culture of trying to poke holes in critique of their stuff, to the point that they have been able to weaponize a fan base against people for simply saying that there's something about their games that they don't necessarily like. You know, it's not the same thing as them coming down on like Abby's arms are too muscular. Like, no, fuck that shit. That's stupid. All right, Abby's thick. Abby can step on whoever's throat she wants to. All right. But whenever it comes to like just literal critique of art, and you're willing to undercut that and weaponize a fan base against that in this way, like it's hard for me. It's a very touch and go thing for me, because like on one hand, yes, fans should not be saying death threats at all, but at the same time, you have to understand a culture that you've built up within your company and around your company, and that you really need to look internally and figure out if maybe some of this stuff is not, it's like it's hard. This is really hard for me to put into words.
Take your time.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where like they have built up an anti-critic culture in a way that is somewhat unprecedented, especially in current era of AAA development. That there will always be a tinge of like, I understand why you're saying what you're saying whenever they come out and condemn these things, because you rightfully should come out and condemn death threats to your team. You should defend your team like that. But you really need to look internally and understand, like, what are you adding to this conversation? Not necessarily the death threat conversation, but the unwieldy use of critique around your products.
I mean, that's my if I can't convince people that it's worth being nice to other people on the internet, as I mentioned before, when you make these bullshit like death threats or even critiques on things that are absolute bullshit, you lay out a nice little gravel path to drive any other criticism can just wash right the fuck over. There are things about Naughty Dog and this game that are worth discussion and time over, hey, this is a problem with X practice. This is a problem with how the game's narrative structure was laid out. This is a problem I have with the pacing of the game. This is a problem that I have with certain gameplay elements. Those are all discussions that can be had that will be drowned out by the fact that some of y'all out there on the internet are just giant asshats that can't have a fucking conversation and must automatically leap to the nuclear fucking option. And it makes anyone with critique look like an idiot because we all get lumped in together at that point. And I don't want to be lumped in with these assholes that are threatening the lives of people who don't fucking deserve the bullshit they get.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're mad about the game, congratulations. You made the game look a lot fucking better. Whether that's earned or not, I can't fucking say. I haven't finished the game. I love what I've played so far. But that's... I remember especially being 15 or 16 years old and being just the edgiest of fucking edgelords. And even then, I would have cringed at the idea of writing a death threat to the person who developed the thing that I hate. I would never have written a death threat to the members of Hanson. I am. Zachary Hanson does not deserve to get his life threatened. Would have probably been my response at 15 years old.
Why would you do that? Hanson's good.
I hated Hanson. I was an angry young boy, and I was certain that Hanson was the ruination of all good music because nobody actually cares about the music. They're just pretty boys that you want to see stand up there and dance. And we gotta stand against people who don't even write their own songs.
Which is hilarious, knowing the nature of Hanson.
Yeah, as a mid-30s man, I now look back on that shit and go, "You dumb sack of shit. What were you even talking
We
about?" All right, a little bit lighter now. Hey, were you aware that Amazon released a video game called Crucible? This title, Nathan Grayson makes some of the best headlines ever, and this headline here: Amazon's Crucible flopped so hard it's being unreleased. Amazon Games released, one of the most it's a hero mobile like looter shooter game.
Somebody sat in a boardroom and took all of the buzzwords in gaming and tried to cram it into one thing.
And nobody made half a fuck over it. At launch for this multi-million-dollar game, I think there was like 115 concurrent players at a time. At max. So they are pulling the game back out of beta, and anybody who's signed up or has previously signed up can continue to play the game while they continue to retool the game based on community feedback. They are sticking with their already posted roadmap. They're not going to change that. But just pull it back a bit before it reaches a full life on the wilds.
So this is one of the oddest things that I've seen in a while. To just put a blanket out there. The game itself, before it got pulled back into closed beta now, apparently, was getting a lot of comparisons to Battleborn.
That's a good comparison.
Right?
Yeah.
That's definitely the comparison that you want. So, look. Amazon has the resources to be able to pull this sort of thing off. If any company was ever going to do that, it was going to be Amazon. They're the only company that has the money and audacity, I think, to really think that they could unrelease something. That being said, though, the fact that hardly anybody even knew that this thing was released last week should speak volumes about how they approached the marketing of this and how they view the video game market as a whole in a lot of ways. I mean, yes, they own Twitch. They invested millions of dollars in a development studio to put Crucible together and to get it out there. But they did not, even on Twitch, I haven't seen sizable marketing for the game in the lead up to its release. I haven't really. I'd be very curious to see what the Twitch numbers were like in terms of who was streaming it whenever it was released. And from all, I haven't played it personally, but from all accounts that I've seen, the game just doesn't feel good. It didn't necessarily feel finished in a lot of ways. From what I've gathered. So I think they obviously jumped the gun here. I think that they might be able to retool it and build it into something serviceable in the closed beta, but it's this is just unprecedented. I've never seen anything like this, and I just don't know what this really says going forward for it.
I have some Twitch stats for you, thanks to Sully Gnome.
Boom, boom. What you
Go
got?
for it.
So in the last 14 days, 13,587 hours watched, 1,883 hours broadcast,
Yikes.
40 average viewers, 5 average channels, 418 maximum viewers, 284 broadcasters, peak channel rank 572nd,
Did we
peak viewers rank 2,193rd.
mention that this game was released on Twitch?
Mm. Cool. You
Like
know,
literally, you could buy it through Twitch.
I forget if it was GameIndustry.biz or the CU podcast, or I don't remember where they were having this discussion. But it seems like a lot of companies are trying to enter the gaming sphere and putting that cart way before the horse. Like, hey, we have this always present existing uh, online server environment. We could put this to use to making a game. Okay, what do you want to do with it? No, fucking Google Stadia. Throw it out there. Oh, okay. Well, what are you going to do with Google Stadia? You're going to be a Stadia. Okay, what does that mean? Then you get Amazon coming up. At least Microsoft is making use of this shit. And then you have Amazon releasing this flop of a multi-genre MOBA hero shooter buzzword soup. Maybe have an idea. And also, in response to 5-7, I do have to agree with Zach Zwiesen here at Kotaku. The pumpkin shape is definitely the best Reese's shape. Thank you, Zach Zwiesen.
Boo! It's the egg. It's the Easter egg.
No, you get those little crevices.
No, the best shape is the square ones that I make.
Those,
I'm into it.
I mean, sure, whenever you make something at home, it's going to be better than a packaged thing. But with Reese's, you've got the tree, you've got the egg, and you have the pumpkin. The egg is just a...
How dare!
But you've got the OG as well, and the OG is, I mean, quite frankly, it's OG for a reason.
Yeah, you got those little crunchy side doodles.
Egg all day.
Either way, yeah. Hey, if you want to be in on Crucible and talk with the developers about how to make this meh into a better game that people will actually play, get on it. It's out there and free.
Well, you have to apply to get into the closed beta now. So
Yes. We do make the Nanaimo bars 5-7, but I don't think it's a thing that exists, but it doesn't exist in large numbers. It's I have seen them at specialty shops. They look nice, but nobody's going out of their way. You know, we could talk about video games all day. Let's talk about what's the best chocolate bar. Brian, what's the best chocolate bar?
whatchamacallit or Zero?
Merwin, how about you?
Coffee crisp.
No, the correct answer for everyone playing at home is the Aero UK bar. The Aero chocolate bar, yes.
Ooh. Get that minty bullshit out of here.
No, dude, the original is just milk chocolate and it's fantastic.
Still. Okay, fine. I don't
The mint ones are gross. The
Yeah,
mint ones
don't
are
get the
absolutely
mint.
gross.
That's
I
just
just
awful.
I just have a lot of anger. I don't know where to direct it. So fuck your candy. I'm joking. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I'd have to say though, like it's got to be either coffee crisp or flake.
Flake.
Flake is amazing.
Oh, Americans are so fucking missing out because Flake don't exist here.
Flake is a UK thing that Canada gets imported because, you know, constitutional monarchy and all that shit.
Yeah, Flake is one of the greatest things that exist. If you have not had one of these in your mouth, first bend over a trash can, cause that shit gonna get everywhere. But then chomp into it.
Oh, no, crumble it over ice cream.
I like your thinking. Okay, back to the video games. It's a nice little sidetrack. Maybe we'll have a whole event where we talk about candy bars someday. But we have a podcast to get done in under 2 hours' time. So some gameplay, roughly 30 minutes of it, of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, the much anticipated new Assassin's Creed that come out all the damn time, was released to the internet. And Ubisoft has been working overtime trying to sweep that under the rug. But of course, this here be the internet. That shit out there.
Yeah. They, again, just stop with the leaks.
Well, Streamable don't have that anymore, so that's a. Yeah, it seems like we're getting more and more leaks of gameplay of upcoming games dropping at the random at this point. And honestly, any game leaked at this point in development, it's going to look totally different when it comes out. So what the fuck?
I mean, you're not. It's true, but also like leaks are just part of the game at this point in a lot of ways. Like I like Ubisoft can do what they can to scrub the internet with this stuff, and rightfully so. It's their intellectual property. You know, they can do that, but you know, you've got to protect your stuff. You've got to do what you can to get the stuff from leaking, because like the audience might not necessarily let that stuff subside from their memory whenever the full game comes out, a la Last of Us 2. Especially because no one had any fucking context for any of the stuff that came out in those leaks. But yeah, like this is like, it sucks, but like all you can do is do what you can to try and get this stuff out. And yeah, I don't know. It sucks. It sucks, but it's there.
Lady Merowyn, if you want to send us some arrow and some flake and some Kinder eggs.
I was just going to say in chat, I'll talk to Playwatch. We'll see what we can pull together. We might have to spring for some dry ice so they don't melt on the way over, because it's been like, in American temps, like 95 to 100 degrees every day here.
It's
And yeah. And yeah, no Kinder eggs, because Kinder Surprise are illegal in the States because y'all apparently keep inhaling the toys.
We do. Look, if you give me an egg, I'm going to shove it directly in my mouth. And hey, I could die from that. So thank you, America, for keeping me safe. Hail the Freedom Eagle. Thank you for all of your time. But yeah, that is absolutely 100% the worst part of the Canadian border being closed is just I can't go and buy any more Aero bars. That's what's been the saddest part.
Oh, really? Like the fact that you can't come and visit me and give hugs? Like that's not good enough? Seriously?
Mm.
Oh, that's it. I quit. Screw y'all.
I can't buy any more of that real Tim Hortons coffee. And by real Tim Hortons coffee, I mean go on McDonald's.
Yeah. Timmy's ain't Timmy's anymore. Did you know we have Timbits cereal now?
Yeah. I need to try that too.
It's essentially Cocoa Puffs, man.
Oh, we are going way the fuck offline here, but moving forward with the story. So the Zelda Breath of the Wild updates. All right, so actually there's been an update. Let me take a look here. They have either started or finished their work on the game. They do not confirm the fact during the interview. Indeed, the tone of the interview implies that they may even have been joking about their work on the sequel. As such, the interview can't be taken as guidance on the status of the voiceover work, nor as guidance on how far through the development the game may be. Okay, fair enough. Merlin? Really? You want to just top up here? You want to say hi to the internet, buddy? Hello.
Merlin Kitty.
All right, so an update apparently came out while everything was going on, and if my cat presses random buttons, I do apologize, because cats are going to cat. Yes.
As the Dead Sun account gets banned in its own channel for spam.
Yes. Anyway, the voice actors for the Breath of the Wild Part 2 were on a podcast recently where what they were talking about the game, and they may be in the middle of, at least from what the translation update here says, either the lines have been started work or they have finished work on the voiceover. It's a little hard to say because hey, translations and whatnot, and of course nobody affiliated with Nintendo is going to say shit because Nintendo with them cease and desist, and if you want to keep your job as a voice actor, you're going to fucking keep it. But it sounds like Breath of the Wild 2 may be coming sometime soon.
Do you want some hot, juicy breaking news that could supplant this story since we got the stuff there?
Breaking news?
Somewhat breaking news. It's a report.
Give me
this
that.
is conjecture. It's rumors, but there are sources saying that this could, if this comes to pass, this could be big. Xbox is reportedly interested in acquiring Warner Brothers games.
And this gets me Zelda 2 how?
It doesn't get you Zelda 2. While IGN's article has a big thing saying that we apologize for the errors and we don't necessarily know what this means, on the other side of the coin, Microsoft might buy WB Games.
You know what? I'd rather that than Blizzard. Or EA. Or Ubi.
Does it get me Metroid Prime 4?
Maybe. I don't. Take that up with management.
No, that actually, I've heard some of the whispers floating about. We don't usually talk about much in the way of rumors on the show. Like, usually we try to follow things that have a very strong lead. Of course, sometimes leads get redacted, but hey, it was updated only 7 hours after this went live.
Sure. Look, I'm not taking anything away from that. That could mean the IGN article we're talking about with Zelda 2 could mean anything. But this one here, there are sources close to the situation that are confirming that there is interest. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Sorry, I just saw this pop up, and I'm like, well, we gotta mention it real quick because that would be crazy.
It would be interesting to see what Microsoft would do. I mean, obviously, hey, release games to Xbox and PC, so they would be in welcome company with Team Ninja and all of them others that Microsoft owns. So it wouldn't really amaze me.
Yeah.
And there is some cool shit that I know coming out of some of those companies under WB. So fucking good for them. And I hear Microsoft doesn't suck to be a third party for, unlike EA. Speaking of putting your money into places, a whole lot of companies have been divesting themselves from Facebook and Instagram while the Zuckman has been playing it off saying, they'll be back. PlayStation is one of the biggest to pull themselves out of the places, primarily over Facebook still allowing certain politicians to say very hateful things on their platforms. Giant Pie, yes, it is a 1 month span while they reevaluate the situation. Even Microsoft pulled out of Facebook, which is hilarious to me because Microsoft is also investing into Facebook with Mixer dying.
Yeah.
Unsurprising.
I think they've lost something like $60 billion in ad revenue so far.
Mm.
And I'm not going to lie, it makes me happy.
I don't know if the Zuck bot is entirely wrong with his statement of they'll be back. Once people's vitriol move to other things and people forget all of this thing and move on to the next thing they're angry about. But nothing would cheer me up more, honestly, to see Facebook fall flat in its fucking face as well, especially after all of the data they just kind of released everywhere. It's fine. Who cares? It's just your data. I hope that PlayStation and Microsoft and all the other big companies actually keep their balls and take them elsewhere. That would be nice. 5-7, did you hear some of the Monty Python cast members are pissed off actually at the Monty Python social media team? So the Monty Python. Let me back up. In UK, they're reopening the bars. So the Monty Python social team put out an image. Hey, put on your best rivalry and go out to the bars, and had a picture of all of the Python people in weird get-ups. And Eric Idle's like, I don't know why they're tweeting this about Monty Python, but stay home. Why the fuck would you go outside? Don't go to the bar, you idiot.
If Eric Idle was smart, he would have just replied with a gif of the bring out your dead bit.
You're not wrong. Kelvin, there's been people trying to bring back MySpace. Like, legitimately. There's a MySpace like out there. I forget the fucking name, but, yeah. Anyway, dropping into what is our last official story of the day. So, did you know that the U.S. Army is in esports? I feel like this must have been talked about at the same time as Crucible was being talked about. But The U.S. Army Esports responded to Discord making some announcements about being open and inclusive with a woo for reasons that make no goddamn sense. So Twitter has done what it do and has been running speedrun events to see how fast they can get banned from the official U.S. Army esports servers.
I mean, people should have been streaming this shit because I would have watched this. I seriously would have watched this. It's awesome.
Yeah,
I
apparently, like
love video
a apparently a big thing that people have done is been leaking the Wikipedia page for war crimes committed by the United States into the official US Army esports Discord. Brian, why is there
Yeah.
an esports Discord for the US Army?
Well, because the U.S. Army,
Mm.
since the days of the PlayStation 2, have been using video games as a recruitment tool, and also as a somewhat propaganda tool. Do we not remember America's Army for PlayStation 2? A
I do
game that
remember
was
America's
fully
Army.
developed, fully developed by the U.S. Army and released on that console. Like, they are just literally, this is just them trying to find new avenues for recruitment in a lot of ways. And like, I'm glad that they have someone on their social media team that has the social awareness to understand what "uwu" means. But also at the same time, they're the fucking army. Like, this is gross, and I am so happy that people have decided to literally just spam their Discord and try and push them out of this area. Like, this does not. No, this is indefensible bullshit what they're trying to do. They're trying to turn a space like this into a recruitment tool, and I'm with the people that are not having it. Like, this has been something that has been a very nebulous gray area for the army when it comes to video games over the years. You know, it's the same way as like how the U.S. military has paid the NFL to basically preach patriotism and preach like this idea of military reverence almost unilaterally, but at the same time they're being paid to do so. It's just a PR campaign.
Mm.
That's all it is. And like, they can go ooh all they want. People are seeing through this shit. Case in point, what is happening right now on their Discord?
Yeah, I've always felt a little bit weird that Army and Navy have, football teams and whatnot. It's always seemed a little bit odd. So, indoctrination into gaming spheres, they're already there. Just we're on a different level, and now, hey, we found a new area, and kids like video games, right? This is what the kids
Basically.
like.
Yeah. Like, I'll be frank. I have never seen anyone at an esports competition that was sponsored by U.S. Army Esport. I haven't. So I'm sure they've been there. I'm sure they might be in other areas of esports that I don't regularly watch, but I've never seen it. And I'm glad I haven't seen it because it would incense me to no fucking care.
Might we see some more wonderful articles from Brian Bell over at Outsports.com, maybe?
I don't know about on this, but we'll see. They give me a reason and they queer it up a bit. If not, it might end up on another place. There might be some talk on another spot, but on Outsports, nah, they gotta make that shit gayer.
It's fine. Just keep it gay, keep it gay, keep it gay.
For that website specifically. Keep it gay.
Okay. Hey, that was the last full article, and of course, we'll get to what we always do. But hey, on Tuesday evenings, currently at the subscriber tier of at the end of the month, we're currently doing, and we're going to continue to do, a subscriber challenge. Not that we really give a fuck about making money here. This is more about us really seeing if people actually make a shit about us trying other areas. So, what we have done is, if you check out the doobly-doo down below, we have made different tiers for different things that we will do if we get certain amounts of subscribers. Currently, every Tuesday, last Tuesday we did the episode 0 of the History of the World podcast. The History of the World, by the way, is where me and Brian sit down and we talk about an event, a story of some sort, covering the history of video games starting back in Ye Proto era. Last Tuesday, we talked about the Fairchild F and the story of Jerry Lawson, a man forgotten but made what could arguably be called the first gaming console, as we would consider a gaming console. Fuck that Magnavox Odyssey, that stuff's bullshit. Which we'll talk about in detail probably sometime later.
It's like blowing the lead before we even get into the story.
We're
We're talking about the Magnavox Odyssey. Fuck the Magnavox Odyssey.
I have always been of the opinion, sir, fuck the Magnavox Odyssey. Joan can probably tell you of the last time that we were covering the Magnavox Odyssey. I believe in the liner notes it was, why the fuck are we talking about the Magnavox Odyssey? I hate this shit. Even if Ralph Baer was a fucking visionary and did change the way that we see the world of gaming, sure. Anyway, 5 subscribers, which we are currently at, we will have a monthly episode of the History of the World podcast. The last Tuesday of every month. Currently, that puts us at a podcast of the 28th. 10 subscribers, we will have a bi-weekly episode. If we get up to 10 subscribers, we will be showing on the 14th and the 28th a podcast featuring myself and Wonderboy Brian. Woo! More numbers. I miss whatever happy noise that was playing, but thank you for whatever that was that went dink in my goddamn ears. Anyway, 10 subscribers will get you the bi-weekly show, so we will go bi-weekly. What? No, bi-weekly here for the History of the World. 25 subscribers. There will be a podcast every week, but every other week will be me playing a game and related to the research we are doing for the show. And if we hit 50 subscribers, we will make the History of the World a weekly podcast. Do we expect to hit that number? Hell no. Please don't give us that amount of money for such a small audience.
So, Trev, we just hit 12 subs today.
All right.
Because we had 7 and then Pi just gifted another 5.
Thank you, Giant Pie. That means on the 14th, we will be discussing the proto era of video games. You will hear about Oxo. You will hear about Sheepgate. We also have the channel on the Discord discussing the history of the world. Enough self-promotion and plugging. Unless, Brian, do you want to say anything in regards to the history of the world?
So, the first show that we did was really fun. I really enjoyed these conversations, and I am really looking forward to doing more of those with you. That being said, I did not expect to get anywhere near 10 subs in one day. So thank you to all of you that did that. Thank you, Giant Pie. Thank you, Coop. Thank you, John Borg. I can't see who was the other sub in there, but all of you, awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, wasn't really expecting to hit 10, but it was more to see, hey, how many people care? And as we keep going, it's not even as much as we give a shit, but the algorithm does care about how many subscribers you have. It's like the more subscribers you have, the more promotion you get. So, feeding us feeds you in a, 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 weird way, I guess.
And just think, we get huge and be awesome and all that stuff. You guys get to say we were on the ground floor. We knew these folk before they were famous, before they were affiliated. We're the OG.
God, could you imagine, like, actually doing Dead Sun Entertainment related stuff as a living? That'd be weird.
I'd be thrilled.
We do accept all people here, John Borg, military, woo or no woo.
Agreed.
Maybe we should put up a 15 bar. I don't know what the fuck it would be, because there's nothing I could think of I actually want to do that would be something between doing the show every other week and doing the weekly research. But I'll think about it. I'll think about it, John Pie.
Brian and Trav do drunken brainstorming for the next episode of Thought W.
You know what could actually be the 15 subscriber thing? Hollis has been talking about it, doing like a monthly podcast where me and him and somebody else sit down and watch a whole bunch of cartoon opening trailers from like the 80s and 90s. That could be a thing. We'll talk on that sometime later.
Dude, I got like 3 seconds into the OG Thundercats and went, how the fuck did I watch this for multiple years? And there's 3 more subs. We're at 15.
All right, I'll talk to Hollis about doing the other podcast as well then for the thank you for 15. 5. I've been without the beard before. You don't want to see it. I look like a child.
It's kind of adorable.
The beard is the only thing keeping me an adult that doesn't get carded. I was 35 years old when I didn't have a beard, and they carded me.
Man, the last time I got carded was like 2 days before my 29th birthday, so we're looking at like, what, 6, 7 years ago now?
A little bit.
And here's the thing. In Canada, to be legal, you got to be 19. So I was a decade past that. She took my ID, looked at it, looked at the date, looked at me, patted me on the hand, and went, good for you. I'm just like, okay. You are of indeterminate age, lady. She's a little tiny Asian corner shopkeep. And she could have been 70. She could have been 170. I wouldn't have known. But she was a sweetheart, and it made me smile on my way into work.
Aw. Either way, at the end of every episode of Mr. Video Games, since the inception of Mr. Video Games, we look at something, someplace, something, person, place, noun that did something so amazing, so awful, so stupendous, some verb to the noun, that you look at it and you can only say to yourself, wow, that right there, that is video games. Giant Pie, 500 subscribers. You find a way to make 500 subscribers, I'll shave my beard. Sure, why not? 500. Anyway, Mr. Video Game for your July 6, 2020 is Little Nas X. This one came out of goddamn nowhere, requesting a fursuit from Sonic Fox. I laughed my ass off when I saw that.
Yo, talk about my boys.
Like, before then, if you told me Little Nas X even knew who Sonic Fox was, it'd be like, oh, no shit. That he wants a fursuit now. I hope it happens.
So this is actually interesting because they've actually had some exchanges online. Like they're friendly at this point. So like this is pretty cool. I saw when this happened and I was like, yeah, okay, this makes sense. They're just like, honestly, this came at the perfect time because Sonic Fox was dealing with a lot of blowback from a lot of people about their comments regarding a lot of the abuse allegations that were going around. And I think this actually happened like a day or so before Sonic Fox pulled out of EVO. So this was a nice little detour, I imagined, for Sonic Fox's online interactions around that time period. So good on Lil Nas X. Into it.
Yeah. I'm good with this. How is this video games? Sonic Fox is the esports guy, basically. And Little Nas X makes music. That's,
Oh no, Trav!
You got
Oh no!
I'll stand by my word. 500 subs, that's, what, like $1,000 some odd? Sure, $1,000 to shave my beard? I'll fucking do it. Do you think I really care that much about this beard? It'll come back.
Yeah, see, if we told Playwatch to like grow a beard, then we'd be screwed because he'd never be able to.
Sainthy attempts don't work. John Pie, I think it'd have to be 1,000 subs to make it 2,500, right?
Well, it'd be $1,000 for the streamer because at affiliate it's a 50-50 split on subs.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'd be looking at $4.99 per sub, or in Canada, $6.99 per sub.
Yeah, I mean
for a tier 1. So,
but who cares? Give the shit about Amazon making more money. I'll say that on Amazon's own platform. Fuck it. Amazon got enough money. They don't need more of that shit.
They got bigger things to worry about. They got Crucible to fix.
John, I'm staying fuzzy. I don't see 500 subs coming in. If it does, fucking awesome. Cool. Money in my goddamn pocket. It's good either way, man. Either way.
if that happens, we'll do a Dead Sun meetup and do a live stream of the three of us shaving your beard.
Yeah, I'm sure by the time that it's even remotely possible for us to get 500 subs, that the borders will surely be open at that point. We'll figure out a way. We'll make it across that border. All right, that is the end for Mr. Video Game for July the 6th, 2020. Brian, do you have any final words for us this weekend? This week?
Just keep staying safe. Keep wearing your damn masks and washing your hands and just being all around cool people. You can check out my writing obviously at outsports.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at WonderboyOTM for places where other places that I will have writing show up periodically. And yeah, that's about it, I think, right now.
John Borg, fuck a Zoom meeting. I will shave live here on camera in front of all of you people. I'll get a little thing to capture my beard hairs as they fall off my nice, happy face. So you can see the horror that people will have wrought someday in the future with 500 subs. Have you seen Gerard Khalil without the beard? It is that times 100. You don't know what travesty you will be unleashing upon the world.
But you look so cute beardless.
I don't want to be cute. Lady Marilyn, any final words this evening?
As always, guys, don't forget to love each other, of course, from a socially distant perspective. Wash your damn hands. Wear your masks if you're told to wear a mask. I mean, it ain't gonna kill you. I have asthma. I have narrowed small airways. I wear a mask and I don't drop dead, so that kills that argument. Just be the change you want to see in the world. And yeah, virtual hugs all around. I love you guys.
The fuck did my cat do to my shift key? Anyway, thank you everyone for coming. Lady Goggles, thank you for the raid. God, John Board, Giant Pie, Graves, Kelverin, Coop. Oh my god. 5-7. Maggie. Thank you everyone for chatting and the people who gave subs and God, all of that. It's a good show. We will be back, of course, next Monday for more Mr. Video Game on the 13th, followed by a History of the World stream that you demanded. You paid for it. You made it happen. There will be a stream on the 14th where we talk about some old ass games.
And there's 2 more.
Sure, why not? Just fucking keep it going. Thank you, Giant Pie, so much. Thank you, Coop. All you lovely people, of course. If you miss any episode of Mr. Video Games, our archive is on youtube.com/CBGB Games. Sometimes I put up other shit on that channel. It's a rarity these days, but there's all sorts of shit there. Yeah, if you want to follow any of our tweeters or other things, links down below. And of course, there is the Dead Sun Discord. Join in with us because we always are talking about politics, games, media, all of that bullshit upon the Discord. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night and a pleasant tomorrow.
Bye.